you're frightened of dying, and you're holding on, you see devils tearing your life away. But if you've made your peace, then the devils are really angels, freeing you from the earth. It's just a matter of how you look at it, that's all.
959 my daily needs. That's right. Swing a spade, rhyme craze. I live majestic ways and life drives pace. So many impressions keep my adolescence scheming through the devil's maze. Simple days of playing CeeLo, alleyway casinos. Other niggas hold the corner, swinging cappuccino. Invest my stilo on a gamble. We handle riches, life's a scandal. And all the streets are filled with deadly wishes. Erotic scenes with bitches, lips are holding nails like kisses. Sipping wine with friends tighter than a compass stitches. Blowing smokes towards the heavens. No more spending time regretting years before I struggle through this holy wall. It's got me choking, the world's provoking. When paranoia strike, I sleep at night with one eye open. Street disciple coping through this whole illusion till salvation comes. Fuck being righteous, the land was built on booze and guns. Daily battles in society defying me. I might just go to war, but for now I keep my cipher pure. Cause we move in opposition, Backstreet religions. A niggas getting pressed, stress is my intuition. We move with no precision, Backstreet religions. Our people's getting pressed, stress is my intuition. We move with no precision, Backstreet religions. Our niggas getting pressed, stress is my intuition. We move with no precision, Backstreet religions. Our niggas getting pressed. Second battles of life, I'm cheating deaths with an herbal breath. Influence my stress, so makes a cycle over maneuvers like chess and stays ahead. Surviving these games on streets of gold till the heavens battle earth. Corruption beats on my soul, no time for peace. My age of innocence is deceased. Now I walk these premises, only static like fleece. While my friends be sliding 5 like grace. Robber dealers out the residence. Living man corrupt just like the presidents. Unforgiving, I live on grounds that are forbidden. Murder haunts my dreams and visions like the Holy Ghost is risen. Peaceful living, 7-digit dreams. My life is full of criminal themes. Mad explicit like a porno scene. My only love is for the peoples who I ciphers with. Now peace the man swing a spade beyond some life for shit. My only love is for the peoples who I ciphers with. Now peace the man swing a spade beyond some life for shit. So we move with no precision, Backstreet religions. A niggas getting pressed, stress is my intuition. We move with no precision, Backstreet religions. Our people's getting pressed, stress is my intuition. We move with no precision, Backstreet religions. Our niggas getting pressed, stress is my intuition. We move with no precision, Backstreet religions. Our niggas getting pressed, stress is my intuition. Yeah. Backstreet gone. One time. For the 90s.
Richmond shit worldwide, Ohbliv. You know exactly what the fuck this is by now, huh? Yeah, I was a nigga when push came to shove. It was self came to push, niggas turn to the drugs. Merchandise keep my circle tight, skin through the night and plant seeds for my younger niggas learning to fight. Metal gear to the income's near, shark niggas get dealt with. My only goal to kill all fears, the genocide took place, then you arrive. Smoke rappers like Peg, don't ever look in my eyes, you'll die. Your mannerisms on your painted ties, I smoke mine, decisions made off D. But in the meanwhile, we sow seeds. Pray that his life is a lucid dream, knock on wood. Jefferson hit me like, yo, you good, yeah. Even though a nigga frontin', too stubborn to ask for help, shit, I don't need nothing. We just drifting in the deep end. Visit my summit like every weekend. Wish I ain't need weed, still gotta call it Weedman. Yeah, Weedman, ayy. Wish I ain't need weed, still gotta call it Weedman. Yeah, Weedman, yeah. Wish I ain't need we still gotta call it Weedman. Fuck up on this one. Yeah, we say we still gotta call it Weedman. Yeah, we say we. Yeah, often I rhyme right beside my fight. Too many times I face bullshit and called it a night. Before the visions, all I ever did was right. Look at me losing my sight. The weight lifted, now I'm high as a kite. Said this my day on, but sick of you talking like you my boss. If people's on the street, I probably trip you and watch you fall. Time to study if a piss test. We covered in stress for Lord drinks. In my downtime, relieving with neck. You never figured out the pockets, you break goose. I'm raw juice, wavy off the diamond board, recovering truths. I got the half of mine and snapping broke ass. Rocking the topaz, mind flooded with mad people, science of the nomads. I fell in love with my bitch, she eyeing me. Fuck her from a distance with the vision. This is all trigonometry, the lost boy. Finally found us Renee. I'm bringing Casey bacon and sprinkled in the extra shit. Submerged in my estrogen. Gassy is my frame, testing my race. Smoking LCD, surrounding the rain inside game. Yeah, Weedman. We say we still gotta call it Weedman. Yeah, Weedman. Yeah, we say we still gotta call it Weedman. Yeah, we say we still gotta call it Weedman. Weedman. Yeah, we say we still gotta call it Weedman. Yeah, man. We say we still gotta call it Weedman. We're live from the Wiki. This is how my boy sound at motherfucking 11 a.m. after a quick blizzy. No.
Peace in the building. It's Bronzebird. Another installment of the Brownstone Powwow on a temporary Sunday. Why I say it's temporary is because usually I don't do my Brownstone Powwows on Sundays. I have a crazy schedule on when I usually do my powwows, but that's besides the point. So I'm not really expecting this to be a long live at all. If you want to join in, you're welcome to, but I'm not expecting this to be a long live tonight. I just want to pretty much get my shit off about the failures of hip hop today. And the reason this was brought to my attention is because of the fact of the matter, we were discussing the whole entire thing with the Meek Mill album that came up last week, and about the sexual exploitation of so-called black women, titties, ass, vagina being shown as an art piece by a woman by the name of, who did the art was Nina Chanel, right? So-called black woman that did the art, and then obviously, a lot of people felt some type of way about it, but they proceeded to blame the so-called black man. So my whole entire thing on it. And shout outs to everybody that came up in the live so far. Hilda, I see you. Perfect timing. Peace, bro. Sir Abadayu, thanks for sharing the vid. You know what I mean? Appreciate you, brother. Thanks. But I just wanted to get in this conversation real quick because this was supposed to be something I was supposed to discuss on my Sedgwick Avenue Brownstone powwow, which I wind up not doing that live stream. I didn't do it. It was going to go on an actual day of hip hop, which was September 11th, 1973, Sedgwick Avenue being the place where the avenue over there by the building where they actually did hip hop. But today, to talk about today's hip hop, you know, I'm just trying to, it's like I'm always trying to give, you know, like leeway because music changes over time, so you can't really get mad because that's how music is, right? But at the same time, it I can't find anything I really agree with. You understand? I can't really find a lot of music artists that I really like in this period. Like, of course, I'll play you songs with artists that I like. You know what I mean? Yeah, I play artists, I play music that I like, artists that I like. You know what I mean? Like like I don't know how to really describe it, but it's not really a lot of artists in hip hop that I really like, and especially if you're talking mainstream. You know what I mean? Like I have my pick of the litter of like those I'll listen to, and then I'll be like, okay, that's great. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm just like, you know what I mean? I don't really get it. I like the music from back then, house music. Yeah, house music always hits, and the thing about it is, what I really like about I know I got family that likes house music, so I mean I understand where you're coming from, Hilda, because they be wanting to go out to the club and go on these boat rides every weekend. Cortez, what's good, brother? But I just want to have an elaborate conversation tonight. Everybody wants to come through. This is not expected to be a long live. I just want to get my shit off. So I just want to show you real quick what I'm really talking about. And let's not forget, Hilda, disco as well. Disco, and then like, you know, disco was always hitting like through the 70s and then the early 80s. And then of course, like, you know, I don't really know what's like, you know, pop music. And then, well, wait a minute. Slow down. Hold on, y'all. I need to read this comment. I've never been to a club. Hold on. Stop it. We are from the same city. You mean to tell me you've never been to a club? You've never, ever been to a club? Yo, that's crazy. I ain't even know all that. That's freaking crazy. Shit, I thought that's rare for me to hear. Everybody I know be up in the club. Oh shit, they go Carvel. What's good? Peace. But tonight I wanna talk about that album cover with Meek Mill. You know what I mean? That a lot of people feel some type of way about it. And I was just like, yo, like, why? Like, what do y'all feel some type of way about when it comes to the whole entire thing? Like, you know what I mean? Let me show y'all what I'm talking about. So, see on your screen right here? This is the album cover that Meek Mill has for his new album, Expensive Pain. And, you know, obviously he's been able to put it up on buses and, you know, billboards. I guess that's a boat passing by with, you know, it's going over landmarks and all these different things around the city. Now, this is what I discussed on the video this week, which was like my only video this week that I was talking about. I was talking about who I hold responsible is not only Meek Mill, but I also hold the artist that's responsible for the artwork, right? And this is the woman I'm going to show you on my screen right now so you can get an idea of who's responsible for this. Nina Chanel, this is the woman that created the artwork for Expensive Pain, right? Now you got all these artworks right here, right? This is supposed to be a man. I'm not even sure. Why does this dude look like he got like extra titties besides the titties he got right here? It look like he wearing spandex, bro. It don't make no goddamn sense. Thank you, Hilda. I appreciate you. Then this is a woman. This is a so-called black woman that got the titties and then got the X mark by her vagina. You understand? Now, I discussed this in detail before, and this reminds me of like some very much Harlem Renaissance-esque type of artwork. You understand? This is what I usually. The first thing that comes to mind is Harlem Renaissance. I forgot the artist's name, but I remember taking classes on this, so don't blame me for it. You know what I mean? A lot of this artwork that is done, but the point is, this was the artwork this is the woman that's behind the artwork of the Expensive Pain album. My thing that I always said was, why are we going ahead and sitting up there talking about just Meek Mill for objectifying so-called black women, but we're not talking about Nina Chanel, who's actually responsible for putting out the artwork. You understand? That's something I've always had a problem with. Like, you can't just sit up there and say, oh, well, I don't really like it, and blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's black men's fault. Wait a minute, hold on, but who's the artist is behind it? It wasn't even a so-called black man that was behind it. It was a so-called black woman. You understand? So that's why I'm sitting here confused, and I'm just like, I'm not doing this gender war shit. You know what I mean? I'm not doing it. I'm not doing the gender war shit. I'm not doing the whole entire, well, black women, y'all out there objectifying yourselves every day. Y'all being hoes. And da-da-da. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not in the mood. And I mean, look. Music of today, I don't know where to go to it, because it's like, okay, first of all, what was really cool that worked in the early 2010s was experimental genres, mixing genres, right? We had The Weeknd come out. We had the whole entire thing. If you're from New York, then you had the whole entire thing of the Beast Coast era coming back out. I mean, not back out, but 2012, when it was Odd Future, and then it was the Beast Coast, which exhibited of pro era, from pro era to Bodega Bams to ASAP Rocky and his whole crew, right? And you had more of that stuff come out, and it was the different fixtures. Then there's this whole entire thing of lo-fi beats coming into fruition, but then also chill wave, the whole entire thing that happened with the dude. I was about to say The Weeknd, that's not his name. Washed Out, which was like one of my favorite artists, like during that time, which they did this whole entire thing of bringing back that 80s synth wave, synth pop type of music. You know what I mean? That new wave culture. You know what I mean? Because of course, then in the 80s, they had the whole entire British invasion. You know what I mean? Something like, and I'm not sure if they're from London or whatever, but you had Bananarama, Cruel Summer, right? All this stuff that happened in the music industry, of course, but I'm going to get to obviously today about the affairs of today's hip hop. Of course, we'll dig at the whole entire stereotype that the so-called black men in hip hop is talking nothing more about gang violence and shooting the motherfucker and killing people and drugs and sex and this, that, and the third. All of the lustful stuff that takes part into this music. But then I can't really get mad because there's beats that I like that's from the 90s. I like the flow of the artists of the 90s, but their topics was the same, right? It's just that, I guess in the 90s, you had to really showcase your skills. You couldn't be one of those that was really a whack artist. It's not like today where they open the floodgates for random dudes that chill at their man's house and talk about, oh, I'm at the studio with a USB condenser mic and with a pop filter and a regular mic stand, sit up there in front of a regular PC or a laptop or a little home studio on GarageBand, Logic, Reason. Reason didn't even do recording back then. They didn't. Logic, Pro Tools, if you really got money like that, or you got it, right? Or you had to get the crack versions of I was about to say DSWs. I'm losing my train of thought, but the digital workstations, the DWSs, right? We know that those artists, grind however you grind. But the problem that I'm having with hip hop today is they open up the floodgates with dudes that really don't have no talent. Even women that don't have no talent. And I'm serious. Naturally, they start to have a work ethic and they start to say, oh yeah, well, I'm an artist. I've had conversations with dudes that sit up there and say they're artists. There's nothing creative about a lot of these artists of today. Some of these artists are really not creative. I've had conversations with dudes that I know that I've met, and I'd be like, yo, what type of music you do? Yeah, DAWs. You know I'm fucked up when I say DAWs. Because, you know, I don't like to say this and reading this out there, but I'd like to do music production as well. It's been a while, but, you know, I'm trying to get back on it. And, you know, obviously things around my, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I said DSWs, DWSs. Forgive me, Cortez, you know what I meant. DAWs, yeah. I meant to say that. I just, you know, sometimes I get frazzled in the middle of my speech, so I forget what I'm saying. But DAWs, yes, you're correct on that. But the thing about it is like there isn't the creativity factor that's there. I have a big problem with that because I was talking, like I said, I was talking to dudes that I know that rap, like having random conversations at these events, and I'd be like, "Yo, you performing tonight?" They'd be like, "Yeah, I'm performing." I said, "What type of music you do?" "Oh, I do all types of music." That's kind of a vague question because we all don't listen to all the same music. Like I have my pick of the litter of music I listen to. I don't listen to country music. I don't listen to blues music of today, right? I don't listen to that shit. I'm not gonna sit here and lie like I listen to every music genre. I don't, right? I listen to certain music genres that I like, and I'm like, okay, I'll stick to that. I'm very versatile though, because I'm not gonna just listen to hip hop, right? I obviously I listen to the old stuff too. I listen to the 60s and 70s and the 80s and the 90s, right? My favorite era is usually the 90s. 80s, I really like them for the whole entire drum kicks that they have, the TR 909s, and then of course back then they started messing around with the 808s. A lot of people think that the 808s was basically an Atlanta thing, which is not. History would tell you that they started working around with the machines, like they had the SP1200s, and they had all these different things out there that they were using in the 80s. But they had the 808s and a lot of these different songs, and you could hear the same type of drum kits in today's sound. It's the same thing you hear in today's sound. So, I mean, people have to get over themselves like, oh, the 808s just existed in Atlanta and existed in the South. No. There was a record by MC Shan, and I believe 1987 or 1988 that used an 808. Okay? That I'm not making this up. You understand? Like, I like to study music history. I might not be most prevalent on it, just like other history. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm still learning. I'm still a child in this game. But I know a little bit, you know what I mean? I know a good amount, you know what I mean? See, and this is why I like Cortez being over here. The 808 was made in 83, exactly. It was still used in the 80s. It was developed in the 80s, right? So my thing about it is having conversations with these brothers. They'll tell me, "Oh yeah, yo, I do all types of music." No, you don't, nigga. Like why are we having this conversation like you don't? You like, then you hear the guy's flow. It sounds so deadpan, and it doesn't really. And it's like the problem with this generation is that they're not really rapping. They're sing rapping. That's the whole entire thing that a lot of people are not really trying to touch on. You're sing rapping. You're not really rapping. You're sing rapping. Okay, and my thing about it is, there's nothing wrong with that. If you could be a little bit creative, but you're not really saying anything. The same thing happens all the times with these artists, right? They'll sit up there and say, the same lyrics always comes out. "Oh, you know, we used to hustle. We used to be in the trenches. My niggas sell packs and blah, blah, blah." I've heard this shit, okay? Y'all know I'm from New York. I've been to events in the Bronx. I've been to events in Harlem. I've been to a lot of events in Brooklyn. Queens, not so much, right? I haven't been to events in Queens because they don't really have any. And it depends where you are in Queens. Like Jamaica, Queens, as quiet as it's kept, I don't really hear a lot about events in Queens, in Jamaica, Queens, right? Staten Island, forget about it. Who gives a fuck about Staten Island? But the brothers will tell me, "Yeah, you know, I'm writing songs for this, that, and the third." Yeah, because these are obviously dudes that can't rap, that just want to rap just for the sake of rapping. Like, dude, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I can actually freestyle. And do not ask me to spit a 16 because I'm not going to do it. But my thing about it is that when I actually spit, it's actually really about me really spitting to the beat. Like, I'm not doing no writtens. I'm not doing no whole entire, "Oh, yeah, well, you know," because if I choke or I fuck up, I keep going. I like the spirit of hip-hop. Yes, it's a competitive game because you want to sit up there and say, "Yo, I'm better than you. I'll rip your whole flow. And plus you signed, but I killed you and I'm not signed." Like, the whole entire thing with hip-hop, that's what it's supposed to be like. You understand? And I don't think that a lot of brothers understand that. And then of course you have these clout chasers. I seen some so-called white dude that apparently is a rapper, but his whole entire goal is to snitch on popular rappers or popular socialites and sit up there and say, oh, well, yo, I'm rapping and da-da-da, this, that, and well, yo, he's a snitch and he ain't this, that, and he don't live like that. When did music come into a form of talking about vanity, hatred, and talking about the fucking bullshit that doesn't make any sense just because you have some type of clout to your name, because you have a certain amount of Instagram followers, or because you're on YouTube, you have a certain amount of subscriptions. Now, let's be honest. I'm a very small channel. I do my work. I give y'all content every week because I love to share with y'all my thoughts and my perspective on things that's doing it. And because, I hate to get spiritual, but it's true, the Most High probably called me to do this, to be a messenger. Bronzebird, the messenger, right? But, hold up, let me see. Yeah, of course. The whole entire thing is they're promoting whack artists, and it's just like, even looking at the freshman list, right? Let me show you this on my screen real quick so you guys can have an understanding. Like the freshman list every year has been getting whacker and whacker and whacker and whacker. But when we go to that whole entire conversation, right? What was the year that officially ended the freshman list of hot artists? Because at least by maybe 2012, 2013, the freshman list was dope, right? The 2008 freshman list was dope. The 2009 freshman list was dope. 2010, 2011, 2012. But then people are telling me that the freshman list ended around 2014. Am I wrong for saying that? You let me know. And if you guys definitely want to come up on a panel tonight to share your thoughts, cool. But I'm just saying in regards, like, who are these people, right? Who are these random people? I'm not even sure if the freshman list came out. But look at this. This is the 2011 freshman class, right? 2016, and this was, I forgot when. But you see this shit, right? I don't know who the fuck a lot of these people are. That's Roddy Ricch. This is some random ass nigga. This is a female artist. This is a female. I think that's Rico Nasty. I'm not really sure. And then that's Blueface, right? Where have we gone in the game with this, right? I think this is the artistry right here. So this is obvious. I know her. I mean, we all know who that is. I don't know who this is. I don't know who this is. I don't know who this is. I don't know who none of these people are. All I know is her. Is Coi Leray. And that pussy go like per. Pussy go like per. Yo, I'm telling you, look. I don't know who these people are. Who the fuck are these people? Look, this is the freshman list. They sat there and said, I know Quando Rondo, and I don't like his music. Jumex is some random nigga. And Lil Loaded, D-Smoke, G.I., Rich Brian. Who are these people? KSI, Lil Skies I know of, but he's just kind of like one of those wacky-ass rappers, right? Dude, they even have this. They have Lakaya, Coi Leray, Murray, DDG, and all this other stuff. They had the whole entire freshman list last year. And I just never really understood. I'm over it. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really get mad. But when you're a person who loves music, it's natural for you to really, you know, get a little bit passionate about a fucking genre you love. You know what I'm saying? Being raised on hip hop. You know what I mean? So, of course, naturally for you, you're going to be like, yo, who the fuck is these whack ass rappers, bro? Meek Mill, See, Meek Mill, this is my thing with Meek Mill. The only thing I resolved from Meek Mill is that he practically was one that was just yelling, right? What do I say about his music is like a mixed bag to me, right? I don't know how to really feel about Meek Mill. You know what I mean? I don't know. I can't really call it. I can't really say anything on it. And then, of course, then you have the backpack rappers such as J. Cole and then his whole entire crew, right? And this is all I ask about music. I don't want to hear trap beats all day. Just like I'll get annoyed a little bit if I hear the whole entire backpack rap and lo-fi beats all the time. All I ever asked for was a mixture, right? Because it's like listening to an album with the same old type of beats. Give me a little bit of everything. Give me a little bit of trap. Give me a little bit of boom bap. Give me a little bit of soul in that music. You understand what I'm saying? Give me a little bit of singing too. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for a lot when it comes to this music shit. But artists of today, in which a video I'm going to do later this week, the whole entire propaganda of getting the so-called black man to still be a gangster is trite at this point. Because then you had the whole entire thing with the Chirac, the whole entire thing with the Chirac movement, right? And then they're starting to come out with a video game called True or Die Chirac, right? And oh wait, hold on, wait a minute, wait. Wagner, I'll have you know, I'm actually going to be doing a live stream on R&B later this week. I think I'm supposed to be doing it Wednesday night. So if you come through for that, I would love for you to, you don't have to come on a panel, of course, but, you know, I would love for you to be around for that because I'm going to be talking about R&B also. And I'll just give a little bit of synopsis on what I'm talking about because it seems as if we already understood the fact of the matter that hip-hop is dead, right? Hip-hop is dead and we don't really rock with that shit. That joint is like over and done with, right? But at the same time, having this conversation as well, on R&B, I don't know if certain people are starting to say that R&B is dead. R&B ain't nothing more than it is with hip hop. They really talk about shit, right? Okay, but you know what I mean? It's difficult for me to understand today's music climate. That's all I'm saying because if you're talking about R&B, I don't know if it's R&B or pop, right? Because a lot of this music is centered around trap like beats, so they do trap. They involve the 808s in a lot of these different genres. Even rock and roll has some type of trap-esque beat inside of their whole entire thing when they're doing their music, right? We're not talking like Lil Nas X or this, that, and the third. Like, nah, we're not talking that. We're talking actual country music. They're involving trap-esque beats inside of it. And so when I'm going back to hip-hop, this whole entire thing with rap, the history, like literal wars created out of the whole entire hip hop thing, infamously in the 90s, right? The fight against South Bronx and Queensbridge, right? Nas. Before that, Melly Mel, you know what I mean? BDP Productions and all these different things and stuff like that. Who created hip hop? What was that? What happened on the West Coast with Dr. Dre, what's his name, Egyptian, whatever his name is, you know what I mean? The Egyptian Lover, I think his name is, I forgot who, but then Peanut Butter Wolf, his whole entire label, when he had that whole entire thing with having MF Doom be the flagship of his label, right? And then the other artists is in there. Then they had the whole entire Adult Swim bumps that was very famous on Cartoon Network. We all know about that, right? Adult Swim. That was my haven when I was listening to music, hearing those Adult Swim bumps. I'm just saying, because with hip hop, then gave into the lo-fi beats of today. There's no way you can argue with me on that. The sampling, all this, that, and the third, we want to get to the instrumentalists. We want to get to the dudes that just do the beats. Now it's very common to do the instrumentals and all that. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. But getting to the hip hop today, I can't always hear drill beats all day. Now, drill beats, depending on who it is, there's some hot ass drill beats. I'll give you that. Some dope ass drill beats, but let's not try to front like drill. The origins of drill was directly from Chicago. No, it was not. Those drill beats that you're hearing now is from the UK and it was grime. I want someone to disagree with me on that. But in my opinion, I don't think that drill directly, the inspiration for drill is from Chicago. No, I disagree. I think that drill was still the second wave of the British invasion and it was coming from grime. Because later on, a lot of these artists from the United States was doing records with grime artists in the UK, circa 2013, 2014. All right, well, Cortez, I'm talking about the beats of today. Like that, there's no way that you can't tell me that the influence doesn't come from UK. Now drill. Now I'll agree with you. This trap and that whole entire thing with trap and that whole entire wave. I will agree with you. It does come from Memphis. A lot of people don't like to give Memphis credit, and I was already looking at some documentaries, and especially if you're talking about like 3 6 Mafia, and then like the artists before then. Like I think like I don't want to say the late '80s, maybe the early '90s, maybe the approximately the late '80s to early '90s with trap or drill. I'll say that. But even Chicago in the '90s, they weren't doing that style. You know the dude that was famously known for putting Chicago on the map. If I'm wrong, let me know. Common, right? 1990s sitting up there like you know what I mean? Okay. Tommy Wright, I never damn, I feel like I never heard of that dude before. But to get to the point, people always think that, especially with trap, is directly from Atlanta. Like Atlanta didn't take flows from other cities in the South, bro. And I think that a lot of people don't understand that. They just think, oh yeah, it's trap. Like if you ask a lot of these people who don't do the history on music, they will tell you they think that trap comes from Atlanta. Atlanta was still trying to craft their sound in the early 1990s. They were. Like, of course you have what's the brother that was working with Usher, man? Y'all know who I'm talking about. You know I constantly forget. Like, but like they were still trying to find their sound. Like I was listening to this artist like Native Nuts or whatever. They're from the 1990s, right? They're from Atlanta, but of course they had that southern like type of style. JD, yes, JD. But in the 1990s, the early 1990s, Atlanta was trying to find a sound. You had a lot of these cats that was inspiring to be like New York rappers, right? And so what you get now with these Jermaine Dupri. What you get now with a lot of these rappers of today is that New York artists are trying to sound like niggas from the South. And trying to sound like loosely trying to sound like dudes from the UK, but then the dudes from the UK is trying to sound like dudes from America. But then the whole entire drill movement is going all around the world where it's affecting everybody that wants to get into rap music, more specifically the gang life culture. Because even if you look at Australia even has that whole entire thing where they're doing drill beats out there as well. So the whole entire argument, I just feel like, what is authentic flows? What state and what city is keeping their sound of today? Who's keeping it? Let me know in the comments if anybody can tell me any city in America that's keeping their same flow and keeping their same keeping their same entire flow like they did back in the day. Now, I would have said California, like shit. The hyphy music still exists, but then at the same time, you understand it did. I thought, hold on. Grime actually came from drill, Cortez says. I mean, if you're saying grime of today, okay, but grime existed before drill in Chicago, though. Am I wrong? Because the whole entire thing with grime, but the whole entire thing I'm trying to understand with grime, Cortez, is because grime was UK rap, which was an influence from the Caribbean, right? Like toasting and the whole entire thing that came from Jamaica, right? And then of course back then you had the drum and bass, the whole entire drum and bass D&B, right? All right, well I need the history on grime then, because I'm figuring grime. Because when did grime come out then? Because I thought grime was still the like UK's version of hip hop. Because grime got popularized probably by 2014, as in a lot more people was willing to hear it. That's why I say it was very important to understand the experimental era of music, probably around 2011 to 2013 to 2014. In my opinion, I could be wrong. I could take an L for it, no problem. Because even still, they was experimenting around with the whole entire thing of the synths, right? The synth and stuff like that, the synth instruments. We're not just talking regular Akai, MPK 25s and shit. We're not just talking about that. We're talking about other synths as well, right? Peace, Bronze. But I say that to say, I think I'll probably do an extension panel on this to actually discover the manipulation of sound as well, because we also have to talk about synth. Because now we have an understanding instrumentation or music doesn't really exist like that anymore. They'll still do it. Let's just say if you go to a concert, they'll still have the whole entire presence of drums, the whole entire thing of instrumentation, woodwind instruments more specifically. But at the same time, if you're going to a drill concert or you're going to a dude that usually does trap, you're not going to really hear drums like that in the concert. They're just going to play the instrumental. It's going to be the DJ, and they're going to rap over the instrumental. If they're good enough, they're not going to sit up there and have their words in the back of the concert, which is something I'm about to dig into right now, because that pisses me off with a lot of independent artists or artists around me. But when we're talking about the synth, the idea of the synth, the instrumentation of synth, they was already practicing that in the 1960s. The late 1950s, early 1960s, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I'm a little rusty on history with that. But that was already something they was already practicing, because they was already, you had the radio frequency, and then you was practicing all these different things with sound. So obviously they was going around and using an instrument that was producing melodic sounds, manipulating sounds and stuff like that with the synths itself. So I don't know a lot of artists like that, because I'm still discovering it. So like in the 60s, I believe it was an artist by the name of, was it Kiever and Browse? Because it was some dudes that wind up doing, like, switching the name around, and then they did a whole entire trip-hop album in 2009 that I really like. And my whole entire thing is, you would see this instrument of synths, and they got all these random, like, little wires and all these different things out there where they're playing around on the little piano, and it's producing all these random sounds and shit. And now guess what? You can get synth packs if you go ahead and torrent the joint, or you already have the presets already on your computer when you decide to make beats. Whether it be Logic, whether it be Reason, whether it be the other one. No. I gotta get this straight. I don't want to forget this. Logic Pro, Reason, Fruity Loops. I just said it earlier. This is crazy. But all other DAW workstations where there's presets. So you have the honor of not even using an instrument in your music. All you have to do is use the synths and the presets that's there for you to make the type of beats that you want. So you know what I mean? Like that's why I'm saying, like, a lot of it is crazy, because the experimental eras happen in a lot of phases, in my opinion. Again, this is all just opinion. I'm not saying that I'm a whiz kid on history. I'm still learning. But at the same time, sampling still come into place. Yes, we get that. Of course, now it's a higher caliber of it, because you have to make sure that your ass is backed up with taking a sample and making sure that you're not getting a copyright strike or something like that, or you get hit with a clearance charge, right? But getting back into the hip-hop thing, one of the most trivial and dopest events of this year, in my opinion, was watching the Lox versus Dipset battle. Because regardless of what people think, when you're really talking about the true nature of hip-hop, I will always say, and I'm young, I'm a young soul. I'm young. I will still always say the lyrics partly still matter, the flow and the energy always matter. And if you really are a true MC, you know your artist, you know your lyrics from front to back. There shouldn't be a reason why I should be hearing your voice and I should be hearing your audio of the song, of that song. There should be no reason why I hear two voices at the same time. It should only be your voice. And that's what kills me with a lot of these artists. Yes, I agree, Cortez. I agree. But I think I found it very fascinating, like the idea that they can manipulate sound and that they really was playing with the synths back then, especially in the 1960s. Like, it was just profound. Like, audio scientists playing with, like, these random, like, fucking, like, instruments and all that. Like, it's crazy, yo. In my honest, brutal opinion. But getting back to what was I saying? I'm saying this to say what pisses me off about these dudes inspiring artists is they'll claim that they do music, but they don't remember their own lines. It's just like when it comes to acting. You're not going to have someone who's you're looking at directly on stage, and you're not going to see an actor looking at a random director on stage and be like, yo, feed me my lines, feed me my lines. If you fuck up, you fuck up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You need to know your shit. And the problem I had with Dipset is that they didn't know their shit. They didn't. And the whole entire energy between them was off. They didn't know what they was doing. They just was like, yo, we rapping, son, we rapping. But that's why I don't like when, independent artists do that. You need to know your shit. You know what I mean? You can't just be sitting out here talking about you an artist, but you don't know your shit. You're not an MC. You're not a master controller of the crowd. You're not confident in your music. And that's the problem I have with a lot of these dudes out here. Like, y'all claiming all this shit, but y'all not confident in y'all music. Because if y'all was, y'all would know exactly how to move. You feel what I'm saying? You would know, like, yo, I'm confident in myself. I can rap. These are my lines. Everybody remember those lines. And because it sounds different, the thing about it is, a lot of brothers that are inspiring artists, they have to also remember there's a different type of energy of when you record your lyrics in the studio versus when you have an actual show. You can be a little bit more aggressive and passionate when you're rapping out in the concert, right? Because you're in front of a live audience. So that's why when you go to these live concerts, a lot of the times the music sounds different, similar, same, but sounds a little bit different than when you're in the studio doing the actual album. You understand? And that's the thing that I try to, because and plus it's the experience too, right? And the thing about it is, what I feel like a lot of these record labels do, because it's all about a business. It's all about exactly Wagner, and they should always remember that. I don't understand why brothers think it's cool to do that. The problem I have with a good amount of these brothers is that they don't learn, bro. Like the contracts. I have a book on music business anyway. I mean, I still have to learn my way in this, that, and the third, but you have to know what you're signing up for. Of course, it's different now because people are not really buying CDs, right? People are really engaging in streaming. So streaming is going to be the next wave of being able to generate sales off of your music. But now we have to counter that in. How much streaming revenue would you get? Let's say if you put your music on YouTube, or you put your joint on SoundCloud, or you put your joint on Spotify. That's the question. Because each download would be like singles on iTunes would average out about 99 cents, right? Now the album, depending on how you push it, is usually around $5 to $7. $5.99 to $7.99 usually. Now, depending on how hot your brand is and how hot your label has pushed you, that's going to be the way you make your income. It's different than how it was in the 90s because we're talking digital now. So now, how do you figure out how to make that money back? You understand? How do you figure out how you going to get that dough? How you going to figure out to know that music shouldn't just be your main source of income? You should have an accompaniment, whatever, of being an artist. That's why you start to see a lot of these brothers or a lot of these artists out here not just do music, but then also engage themselves in a lot of these company brands, right? Start engaging themselves in investments, start being in these clothing brands, investing in liquor, investing in a lot of these products to expand their brand. You understand? That's what a lot of brothers don't think. They just think, oh, well, I'm signing to a fucking label and I'm going to get rich and this, that, and third. No, sir, you're on a loan. You stupid fuck. You're on a loan. You have to remember that. You are on a loan. Excuse me. Hold on a second. But you are on a loan. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, everything that you think you're going, like a lot of these brothers don't understand, man. The studio costs money. The entourage costs money. The whole entire thing costs money. So y'all thinking that y'all getting away stake free with just being an artist and you can flash all this money. No, you don't, sir. No, you don't, sir. Like, I wish that you would really understand that. And I don't think that a lot of people do understand that. They just be like, well, I'm getting signed and this, that, and third. Now, we can get into the whole entire controversial conversation of selling your soul, the Illuminati talks and this, that, and the third. I mean, honestly, the powers that be in any industry you're in, you're going to be required to deal with the demonic possessions. That's just how the game rolls. I mean, if you're an independent artist, you have more leeway. You have to push yourself, obviously. You have to make sure that you're doing what you're doing to get to where you want to be without the threat of being commercialized or being to that level. Now, this is a thing that I also wanted to talk about because I'm trying to have an understanding on this too. They were sitting up there saying that hip hop sold out when I was about to say here, Run DMC decided to go with Rick Rubin in a whole Def Jam, and then talking about how they was rolling around with The Rock, was rolling around with Aerosmith and all that other stuff in the 80s, but then they was able to expand on their brand because they were starting to endorse themselves into promoting the Adidas sneakers. Then obviously we have to understand it is a business. So in order to monetize your brand, you do definitely, I would think it is a smart choice to go ahead and go with the hottest pair of sneakers or fashion brands because everybody likes vanity. People like to shop. People like to have the hottest brands of clothing. It's the same thing that happened with the whole later down the line. Besides the British Knights and all those different sneakers, the troop sneakers and all that other shit. Carl Connie in the 90s. You know, FUBU, which was a great marketing ploy by LL Cool J in the mid 90s with, you know, them trying to promote the brand with the brother of the founder of FUBU being rich as hell now, being on Shark Tank. You know what I'm saying? But getting back into my whole entire last final thoughts on what I think about the affairs of hip hop, it just doesn't seem authentic. I can't put my finger on it. I wish that I could, but I try to really give people the benefit of the doubt, but a lot of times I can't. Because even if you even in the 90s when they was rapping about fuck shit, the point of the 90s when they was rapping about fuck shit, you felt it though. That's even if it was fake, even if they was putting up a whole entire gimmick, you felt it though. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is, the corny thing about a lot of these producers now, because I want to get into producers as well, these corny ass niggas is sitting up there taking samples from the 90s and then remixing it and things, and it's really something. The brother, one of the brothers that kind of got a song out right now, that had a song with Megan Thee Stallion. He took that whole entire sample from Biggie, and then Ashanti did her version of the sample. You know what I mean? You did that one, and then they sit up there talking about that. Like, the dude is fucking corny. Why are we playing games with these niggas, man? I can't. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to figure out who's the song he did. It wasn't Young Thug, man. Shit, man. I forgot who it was. It was a brother she did a song with. Moneybagg Yo, that nigga, man. Moneybagg Yo that did that song with Megan Thee Stallion. I'm talking about him now. Moneybagg Yo. Yeah, the song was fucking trash. Exactly, bro. What the fuck? And you know what's crazy, Cortez? They play that on the radio every fucking day. Every day. And I'm sitting there like, yo, y'all really think that song is dope, fam? And people really was sitting up there saying, yo, this song is trash. But Moneybagg Yo was getting put on, fam. It's crazy, dog. It's crazy, dog. So I'm just here to get my shit off. I wasn't expecting nobody to come on. You know what I mean? I'm gonna talk until like the minute mark, probably an hour mark and 10. But I'm just saying, like, these samples that they're using, and this goes along with R&B too, loosely off of hip hop. But I want to get into art because what's her name? Normani did the whole entire thing with taking that sample from Aaliyah and then remix it, and I'm like, this shit is fucking whack too. What the fuck? Like, yo, when are we gonna get new classics? Is my point. That's all I'm asking. when are we getting new classics? Y'all tell me in the comments, whoever's listening right now. What's the last hottest song you ever heard? Whether it be this year, last year, or a couple of years ago. What was the hottest song that you definitely could say you like and that you know of this era that was the dopest song? Because me, I can only tell you underground artists. I can only tell you that. And I'm going to get into other genres of music. I can't tell you mainstream songs that I really like that. You know what I mean? Of course, I would say J. Cole, one of the songs off his album this year was pretty dope. You know what I mean? I didn't get a chance to really listen to the album in depth, but J. Cole has some dope shit. You know, Kendrick Lamar coming out with his new song. I'm not even liking the shit that Kendrick Lamar came out with his cousin. I'm sitting up there like, nah, I'm not feeling it, bro. It's a no for me, dog. And he's like, doing classic is an oxymoron. I know, but you know what I mean, though, Cortez. Like, what I'm trying to say is, what's the last dopest song that came out this year, last year, or a couple of years ago? You know what I mean? Of this new era, I can't really think of any. You know what I mean? It's kind of like dudes just drop these random albums and be like, yo, I just came back and I'm gonna leave off and, you know, do something else. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing I'm really feeling in this era of hip hop. Like, I'm like, yo, if it's main, and I'm talking about mainstream, because underground artists, I can name a few that's like, yo, they sick as fuck. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I'll give you that. They sick as hell, without a shadow of the doubt. They killing it. I'll give them that. But to talk about the artistry of today, I can't really feel it. You know what I mean? And so many people will make the argument, well, yo, music changes, and yo, like, you know, you just gotta get with the wave and this, that, and third. Nigga, what wave? I'm trying to understand what the wave is. Even back around what, 2009? 2008, 2009. I didn't like Max B at first, right? But then Max B grew on me, and I'm like, yo, I actually like Max B. Then Lil B. As controversial as we want to talk about Lil B, when Lil B was really putting his mind to it, he could actually flow. You know what I mean? And I give him credit because he just went into the studio and started rapping. But you got to give the dude credit, like, yo, he actually was trying to rap on that record. He was like, yo, fuck it. I'm gonna free flow it and I'm gonna let it go. You know, he came out with all his little Flame series and this, that, and third. And you know, he was messing up on purpose. But I give credit to Lil B a little bit because I was like, I give you that. I give you that because he'll actually flow. He won't fuck around. He'll be dead ass serious. But the whole entire thing of the mumble rap, dudes just don't care, right? It's always about the vanity. It's always about, oh yeah, I got this, I got that. And I don't mean to repeat myself, but I just want to make it known this is the whole entire thing that they're going with. And I'm just sitting here like, yo, what the fuck, yo? So you mean to tell me there's no artists out there that really spit that crack? Like, you know, there's a lot of underground artists or underrated artists that's not really being put on the scene. It's just like you're waiting for them to be put on an album, and it's like, oh, yo, they dope. Getting to producers, what producers is legendary in the game? You have Pete Rock, you have The Alchemist, you have I was about to say Pharrell. I mean Pharrell obviously, but you have a lot of like producers in the game where it's like, yo, they're cool. But then again, like the new era of producers, like whoever did Moneybagg Yo's like song, yo, you piss me off because I'm like, you're a cornball. You use the 90s sample and then just thought to yourself like, yo, this is that new hot shit. We're going to take it back to the 90s. And that's why I know the 90s was just like one of the dopest, the golden era of hip hop. Because none of these niggas can refute this shit. It's always the same stuff, bro. Like, I'm just saying. That's within my regards. A lot of these producers just piss me off with that shit, yo. And that's why I'm saying, like, it don't make no goddamn sense. Show me a producer that's a new producer that really hit it where it hurts. You know what I'm saying? I know you had the whole thing with 21 Savage and Metro Boomin. Metro Boomin got some good stuff too. I'll give him that. Metro Boomin has some dope stuff he did with 21 Savage, but at the same time, bro, I can't get with it. I can't, yo. I really can't get with it. So that's my whole odds on that. like I said, this wasn't intended to be a long stream. I just wanted to get this shit off my chest. Later this week, I'm gonna be talking about R&B. I don't really feel like R&B is the same anymore either. I don't really dig a lot of these artists out here. I mean, again, it's always referring back to 90s shit. And the thing about it is, you think by using 90s samples or using samples that they was using in the 90s, that gives you more credibility as an artist, and it doesn't. Not in my opinion. Like you're not really saying anything that's fruitful to me. Like I don't really hear anything. Like you don't mean shut the fuck up. You don't mean shit. You understand? Like that's just my whole entire thing on it. But later this week, probably Wednesday night, I'm gonna hold a panel on whoever wants to come up and talk about R&B. Did R&B die? And if anybody wants to give their thoughts right now, is R&B dead? I would like to hear your opinion on that. But something about the 90s, a lot of people, peace ITV, a lot of people in the 90s, you know, I mean, a lot of people that's using this whole entire rhetoric from the 90s, you're not proving shit. You know what I'm saying? That's all I really have to say. I'll give it a couple more minutes of me rambling. If anybody wants to join the panel and give their 2 cents, or I'll just get ready to pack up and leave. And see y'all on Wednesday night so we can hold a panel about is R&B dead. Hip hop of today, I just can't get with it. I can't understand it. I don't know where it's going. There's no, like, the thing that worked out with the 90s too is that you had a lot of the, like, you had like hip hop groups, like R&B boy bands, and then female girl bands and this, that, and third, but you had hip hop groups, right? Onyx, Mobb Deep, let's see what else. You know what I'm saying? Lords of the Underground. You know what I'm saying? A lot more artists out like groups, dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then in the early 90s, the early 2000s, it didn't really die down, but it did. Because then it was G Unit, Dipset, you know what I mean? And then a couple of other artists on there. And then forgot from the 90s. You know, you obviously had Andre 3000 and the rest of them having their own groups. That was the cool thing right back in the 90s. That was the dope thing. But today you usually have solo artists. Now you have dudes that have collectives. They have their own little, you know, labels and stuff like that. But they have their own collectives. Now, I'll give you credit on this before I go. What I like that J. Cole did, J. Cole incorporated a lot of different styles within his camp. And I think the great thing about the power dynamic and the power conglomerate with J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar, them having their own little label and their whole collective, that was dope as shit. Like, I'll give them credit for that. And then what really worked out was 2011 to 2013, we can incorporate the whole entire drill wave with Chief Keef. I'll give him credit for that because that was phenomenal. Having something like that come into fruition, that was cool. But then also having the Beast Coast of 2012, that was phenomenal. I don't give a damn. I'm repping for my city. You know what I'm saying? Beast Coast, dope. Because you was getting a lot of different artists that was getting shine. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just ASAP Mob. You was getting Pro Era. You was getting all these other artists out here and these groups out here that was doing damage. World's Fair, Flatbush Zombies, all these different things. You was getting that. You know what I'm saying? Besides that, take it back to the West Coast. Tyler, the Creator, Odd Future, their whole entire camp was cool. You know what I mean? And that's what really worked out with the music in regards to the groups. I've always been a sucker for hip hop groups. I really like though, because there's different energies within that group. Same thing if you go to New York again, Wu-Tang Clan. You know what I'm saying? 3 6 Mafia in the 90s. Crazy Bone and his crew. You know what I mean? All that shit. So that's my whole odds on it. I just wanted to get to that whole entire affairs of hip hop today. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the Brownstone Powwow. If you like the discussion, you know, share that. You know what I mean? I really appreciate everybody who came through tonight. And later this week, like I said, Wednesday, I'm going to start getting into the conversation, is R&B dead? That's the conversation I want to get into because I think it would be a very fabulous conversation to talk about. So otherwise than that, you know how I do before I get up out of here. I'm going to start playing my music. And of course, you know how we do on here. You know, I play my music and then I go. So just peep the vibes, y'all. Peep the vibes, y'all. Peep the vibes, y'all.
Oh, yeah. All right. Check this out.
Take a little trip through your mind and explore it.
I've got a penny for a wish, a nickel and a dime for the time I've spent making up my shit in a room on the wall filled with wax. The facts transact, the insomniac, your overnight sensations will bust to the boogie. Fresh is the word, but the word is who is he? Front like you care, so you wanna be down. Elements change, rearrange, but still the same. Game is the price, cause you gotta sound nice. My urban soul's old, Joe, I've been around twice, so who's fooling who? I'm turning in the midst. Just half baggy jeans, twisted cap, and looking meanwhile. I'm on a journey with men mystically and physically. I'm bored so stiff of fake rhythms and riffs. What if I had a fat beat and a little gift? I might be homeless, but good news a derelict. Pastor reiterates the state I'm in. Revelation spins 33 in the third. I'm ripped with positivity and giving these words something new. The mood is idolized in the crew. Non-functionals upset my intellect, yet I can maintain. The feel's still the same. My mind's in motion cause I'm passing up the beam. I gotta get over. Put the needle to the groove. Pop the top off the boom. Know what to do. Check it out. You know I rock like that, yo. You know I don't stop. Check it out, yo. You know I rock like that, yo. You know I don't stop. Check it out, yo. You know I rock like that, yo. You know I don't stop. Check it out, yo. You know I rock like that, yo. You know I don't stop. Check it out, yo. You know I rock like that, yo. You know I don't stop. Check it out, yo. You know I rock like that, yo. You know I don't stop. Check it out, yo. You know I rock like that, yo. You know I don't stop. Check it out, yo. You know I rock like that, yo. You know I don't stop. Push the level, be irritated from the ruckus downstairs. Bunch of niggas sampling caps. Figure me among go to dinner. The big rash pickers gather pieces of a puzzle. No other brother can fit. Maintain the vocal acid. Let it ooze. Good news is when you're unconscious. I formulate past time present. Present is the boomer. I hold my shoe to imprint. Liquids hanging on the scene to get dapped. You never heard of, I never get dapped. Cause roll call them absent. Take it to the corner, push the hill too. Days of the hood, cruise lesson from the learner. Throw me inside, though I'm feeling from the fifth. Rhythm rock live, scribble the point. Came up with another one, I don't ever cast till I sign that. I'm that brother feeling blocks at the cottage. Batteries banging, I squeak to hit the beat. Put the Sherry Carter on the tube. Answering my own voice, take the sound, let it simmer. Plaster the walls with my favorite rap singers. Didn't know that, didn't know that. I'm trying to hit. Switch through that style, the crew never knows yet to debate. Words from a singular incision. Plural is a human in the noun transmission. Blue skies move, save it to the source. See me with the same type of honey that I bought last Christmas. Now my idol is low down swimming. Payment trials, you get the Prince Child. Check it out. You know I rock like that, yo. You know I don't stop. Check it out, yo. You know I rock like that, yo. You know I don't stop. Check it out, yo. You know I rock like that, yo. You know I don't stop. Check it out, yo. You know I rock like that, yo. You know I don't stop. Check it out, yo. You know I rock like that, yo. You know I don't stop. Check it out, yo. You know I rock like that, yo. You know I don't stop. Check it out, yo. You know I rock like that, yo. You know I don't stop. Check it out, yo. You know I rock like that, yo. You know I don't stop. Check it out, yo. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out, yo.